Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's that time of year again where I like to do all of my end of the year videos showcasing my best GameStop pickups for 2024, my best thrift store pickups for 2024, and some of my online pickups for 2024. In the past, I've broken it down by generation, but this year I'm going to do it a little bit different. In this video, I'm going to first show you all of the free games that I got from GameStop in 2024. And then I'm going to show you all of the sixth generation games that I got from GameStop in 2024. And sixth generation games is going to be everything for the PS2, the GameCube, the original Xbox. And I'm just going to throw the Wii in there because the Wii is kind of like, it's tough. Like you have the Wii, then the Wii U. So I'm just throwing the Wii in here because this just felt like the best place to throw the Wii pickups for 2024. So let's start off with the free games that I got from GameStop in 2024. First up, we have SpongeBob SquarePants. This is actually a really cool side-scrolling platforming game on the PlayStation 1. I was actually shocked with how good of a game this was. I walked in and they had a big box of games that they were going to throw away. And instead of throwing this away, I told them, give it to me. I'll take it. So I added this one to my collection and it was in pretty good condition. It's complete. And yes, my hands are ashy because I wash them a lot. So yeah, added this one there. That is the free one. Next up, we have WWF In Your House. There Goes the Neighborhood. This is a WWF game that I didn't even know existed. And honestly, like the way the characters look in this game, they kind of have that same type of like Mortal Kombat animation, just in a wrestling format. And this is actually not a horrible game. It's not the worst, and it does have a little bit of value to it. It's like a $25 game. I was shocked that they were getting rid of this, but I took it. It was free. Next up, I could understand why they weren't accepting this. I mean, it's a sports game, but I actually took this one because this is one of probably my top 3 favorite basketball games of all time. Maybe number 1. It's right up there with NBA 2K, the original NBA 2K. But 2K1 was great. And I got this with a bunch of other sports games, but this was the one that I actually kept in the collection. So 2K1 was also a free game that I got from GameStop. Walked into GameStop one day and they had like a whole stack of wrestling games available. I decided to keep SmackDown versus Raw. I got rid of a bunch of the other ones. So this was also another free game. They had this copy of Spider-Man available as well. I guess just they didn't take it. I don't know why they didn't take this one here. It had Spider-Man 1 and 2 in there, so took that. I already have Spider-Man 1 and 2 on the GameCube, so this is one that I'll probably wind up selling. But this was a freebie. Next up, this one was actually a funny story. I walked in one day and I just saw that they had this copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sitting behind the counter for the GameCube. I'm a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and I actually had all 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games on the PlayStation 2, and I sold them all when I did a big sell-off at the beginning of the year. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had this sitting behind the counter. There was no sticker on it, so I was asking, I was like, what are you guys doing with this? And after doing a little bit of digging, I found out that this was one of the games that they didn't accept. Don't know why they did not accept this game. This is a perfectly good game. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was complete in box, but they were giving it away, and I happily took this home. Was glad to get that one. And then the last free game that I got from GameStop was this copy of Spyro Greatest Hits Enter the Dragonfly. Again, complete. I was just shocked at how complete all of these games were. Like all of the games that they gave away were complete. They weren't horrible games. None of these games are like super expensive or like super rare or anything, but they were perfectly good games that I'm sure any like retro gamer would have picked up had they just put it on the shelf, even for $9.99. So, but be that as it may, I'm not mad. I got a bunch of free games from GameStop, so I'm happy about that. And I really, I spent 2024 having a love-hate relationship with GameStop. It was weird, man. There would be so many times where GameStop would make me feel great, and then there would be so many other times where GameStop would let me down. So, all right, without any more to do, let's go ahead and dive into these 6th-gen games that I found at GameStop. Now, A lot of these games are games that are not common. You don't really see them often, like at a GameStop, or at least not at a GameStop these days. Maybe with GameStop doing the retro thing, we'll probably see more games like this. But I was really shocked when I saw House of the Dead 2. I remember I picked this up. I actually picked this game up towards the end of the summer, like right around the time, right before they launched the GameStop Retro. I remember walking into a GameStop and they had this copy of House of the Dead for $11. So I definitely scooped it up on the Dreamcast. It was complete, in good condition. They had sitting there on trade hold. So I went ahead and grabbed that. That was a really cool pickup. Here we have one that's not as uncommon. I've seen this a few times at different GameStops, but Budokai Tenkaichi 2 for the Wii. Not super exclusive, but this was one that I did snag. I think I picked this up earlier in the year. It was in really good condition, complete, and I've always wanted to get into the Tenkaichi games, so went ahead and snagged that. Picked this up, No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle. I actually had this like limited run, did like a special edition release this year, or either this year or last year, where you got both No More Heroes and No More Heroes 2. And then I think obviously they released No More Heroes 3 either last year or the year before. But there's something really nostalgic just about seeing it on the Wii, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Again, this one was really cheap. It was like $9 or something like that. So I went ahead and grabbed it. It was complete in decent condition. So pick that one up on the Wii. Then we have some original Xbox action. Picked up Grand Theft Auto Vice City on the original Xbox. That was a $6 pickup. This one was very cool to see. Castlevania Curse of Darkness on the original Xbox. Picked this one up during GameStop's 4 under 20 for 40, and I'm pretty sure this was $19.99, so got a really good deal on this one. Again, complete. The majority of the games that I found at GameStop, the retro stuff, in store was complete, so that's a good news story there. Then next up we have Blood Rain 2. Now this one was not complete, and it came in what I think was either a Blockbuster case or a GameCube case, but I'm pretty sure this is a Blockbuster case. Yeah, Blockbuster. So, decent game. It's a hack and slasher. I don't have an original Xbox, so I haven't been able to play this game. I did have this on the Switch when they did the Blood Rain and Blood Rain 2 release on the Switch. Curse of Darkness I have played because I have it on PS2, and Vice City I've played because I obviously have it on PS3. Now we've got some GameCube action. So on the GameCube, they had a copy of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Picked this up during the 4 under 20 for 40. Is it 4 under 20 for 40? I think, or 4 under 20. Yeah, 4 under 20 for 40, I think. This was really cool. This was complete in box, and this is another shockingly good SpongeBob game. Some of these SpongeBob games are like fun to play, believe it or not. So this was one that I got and kept in the collection. Was glad to have that one. Beautiful Joe. This was one of those days where I just got struck it, like had a good stroke of luck at GameStop. I walked in and they were getting ready to ship off a whole stack of retro games, and in that stack was a bunch of GameCube games and a bunch of PS2 games, and they were all underpriced. So they had this copy of Beautiful Joe at GameStop for $9.99. And I was really upset because I had just purchased a Player's Choice version of Beautiful Joe from online because I really wanted to add it to the GameCube collection, because I had this back in the day when I had my GameCube, like back in 2002 or 03, one of them. But picked this up, really, really good condition. This is in better condition than the online pickup. The online pickup was really in really good condition, but this was a really good pickup from GameStop. Definitely glad I was able to find that one. Battalion Wars, not too much to say about this. This was one of the few GameCube games that I picked up that wasn't complete. Beautiful Joe and Battle for Bikini Bottom were complete. This one was disc and case only, and this is not an original GameCube case. So I've been teetering on selling that a bunch of times, just haven't. Sonic Riders. So this was picked up in store at a GameStop. This was at a time when my local GameStop just kept on getting GameCube games, like back to back. They were getting everything, like Mario Kart Double Dash. They were getting it all. And I know there was someone else that was going to that GameStop picking stuff up, because like I would pick stuff up, but then like I would come back and then I would hear that other stuff came in that they picked up. It was, and then with the trade hold thing, it was annoying because you never knew when something was going to be released, and then like it was fun, but it was frustrating. But Sonic Riders is another GameCube pickup that I got. And then Shadow the Hedgehog, I actually found this game twice. One without the case and then one with the case. Actually, three times, I'm sorry. One was without the case, one had a case that was destroyed, and then there was this one with a decent case, this one was complete. So case, manual, everything. So was glad to be able to find that. I'm still looking for a case and manual for a couple of other GameCube games that I was able to pick up in store. One of them being this copy of, where's it at? This copy of, here it is. So Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. So this was another in-store pickup. I have it in like this generic GameCube case. I don't have a label on it or anything. I'm hoping to be able to find a case and manual for it. Haven't found one worth purchasing online, but I'm just hoping that I run into it. But this is another one that I picked up in store. That was actually during a buy two get one. I think I bought a Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow and I think Mario Party 6 during the buy two get one, if I'm not mistaken. All right, now we're going to get into some PlayStation 2 stuff. And before I even dive into it, I'm just going to say PlayStation 2, there were a ton of PlayStation 2 games available at GameStop this summer. And even still now, I think there's still probably a bunch of PlayStation 2 games. They were all complete in box. And I think that's because the sixth generation, like the era of nostalgia for Gen 6 was this year. I feel like this was the year for Gen 6 nostalgia, where all of the hype around the GameCube, PlayStation 2, I think it kind of climaxed this year, and a lot of people who wanted to get rid of that stuff, they did. So and GameStop was probably just the easiest place for people who aren't heavily into like selling video games and aren't heavily into the gaming community. It's just an easy place for them to just go dump their stuff and then just take whatever GameStop's willing to give them. And we saw a lot of that this year in a lot of areas. So I'm going to dive in and I'm going to show you all of the PlayStation 2 games that I found at GameStop. Starting off with Devil May Cry 3, Great Assist Edition. This one has a little bonus content. Pretty fun hack and slasher. I like Devil May Cry, actually. Tekken 4 on the PlayStation 2. Pretty decent one there. Jak and Daxter, Precursor Legacy. We have also Jak 2. Then we have, this was a really cool one. So this was one I picked up during I actually picked this up when it was 4 under 10 for 20. So this was really cool. This was $9.99. Got this for $4.75. Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. Now, obviously, there's a ton of ways that you can play the two games that are on this, which is Street Fighter 3 Third Strike and Super Street Fighter 2. You've got so many different Street Fighter compilation games across a number of platforms. It kind of makes this almost worthless, but there's something nostalgic about seeing it on PlayStation 2 still. And the music actually kicks on PlayStation 2. Like, it's really good. I still think the best way to play Third Strike is on the Dreamcast. That's just me. But still a really cool thing to see. And for $4.75, I was glad to be able to find this. Another one that I got for $4.75 that I was shocked to find, Samurai Showdown Anthology. Probably not the best way to play Samurai Showdown on PlayStation 2. I could probably think of a number of other systems that would be more fun to play this game on. But still really cool to find this. Has a bunch of different Samurai Showdown games on it, or just these compilation discs are a ton of fun. So really cool to see that. I'm going to show you just a stack of games in one shot. I'm not going to individually show them all, but you have all of your stables here. So almost every GameStop I went into this summer had all of these games in bounty. There were so many. You have San Andreas, Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto 3. Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy 12, and then Final Fantasy 10 2. So these are just super common PlayStation 2 games. They're all complete. They were all $9.99 or less, $6.99 in some cases. And really, you were just able to milk the 4 under 10 for 20 deal with all of these and just kind of get these for pennies on the dollar. Not that these games are worth a ton anyway, but if you're just building a base PlayStation 2 collection, you really could have done it with GameStop this summer for pretty cheap. Like, I will give them their props. They did have a ton of quality PlayStation 2 games that you could have taken advantage of and built a solid PS2 collection. All right, keeping it going here. We'll get into some more PlayStation 2 games. So next up, we have Tales of the Abyss. I actually found this a couple times this summer at a pretty decent price too. This is like a $40 game. Every time I saw it at GameStop, it was like 27 bucks, so not bad. There's a couple that I was really shocked to find, but before I get into those, I'll show you a couple that were also pretty common that I saw. One of them being Dragon Ball Z Budokai. So I saw this a few times, but most of the time that I saw this game, it was disc only. So the one time that I actually found it and it had the disc, I definitely went and grabbed it because not only did it have the disc, but it also had the poster. So this one was like super complete. Really, really cool on that. Got a good deal on it. 4 under 10 for 20. So definitely maximized on that one. Then the same time I found that, I found Budokai 2. And I found all of these at the same GameStop that I found Beautiful Joe. That GameStop was on point, man. They had like so much cool stuff. It was crazy. But Budokai 2 as well, complete. Was stoked to find that. This is another $9.99 pickup at GameStop. Was glad to find that. Took advantage of them having that there. And then Budokai 3. Now this one was a little bit more. I think Budokai 3 was like either 14 or 19.99. But again, I picked this one up because it was in really good condition and the disc was in good condition. It had the manual. And like I said, I want to get into these Dragon Ball Z games. I might try to see if I can get all of the ones that released on the PlayStation 2. I think I'm missing Sagas. I'm missing all the Tenkaichi games. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm able to do that at any time. So those were some pretty interesting Dragon Ball Z games that I found. Then I found another really uncommon find at a GameStop, Suikoden 3. So the day that I picked this up, I made a massive haul at GameStop this day. I'm gonna say I probably dropped like 300 bucks that day at GameStop, but it was because I don't know where the shipment came from, but they had a bunch of games. They had a bunch of 360 games, PS3 games, and PS2 games. 3 of the PS2 games I'll show you now. The first one was Suikoden 3, and they were all like near mint condition. It was crazy. Suikoden 3 was one that I picked up. I have Suikoden 5, and I think I have Suikoden 2. So I'm missing a few games out of the series. I know they just released Suikoden 2 on the Switch. Either it's already out or it's about to come out. But this was definitely cool to see at a GameStop. Then that same day, I also picked up a copy of Champions Return to Arms. Again, all of these games were like almost new. It was like almost brand new. And these were all coming in at roughly around $19.99. So a really solid pickup there. Then you had Champions of Norath, which was another game that they had there on that day. And I picked these 3 PlayStation 2 games up along with another very rare PlayStation 2 game. And a bunch of really solid 360 games. In the 360 pile, they had everything. I mean, Velvet Assassin, Wolverine Uncaged, Shattered Dimensions. They had just had a ton of stuff that day. Keeping it going here, another $9.99 pickup from GameStop, God of War 2 2 disc set. This is actually pretty interesting to find. Obviously, there's a number of ways you could play God of War 2. But just something really nostalgic about picking it up on the PlayStation 2, having it on the PlayStation 2. So I actually got it. I picked it up, and this one is staying in the collection. I appreciate the God of War 2 games, or the God of War games, rather. And this one was complete. Definitely kept it because it had both discs. It was complete and in decent condition, minus the little wrinkling on the cover, on the case there. One that I was very happy to see, this isn't a rare game by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a very cool game, a very fun kind of like action RPG game. I had this before, sold it, and I kind of regretted it ever since. There's 2 other games that I had in my collection that I need to get back. One is Musashi, the other is Bujingai, or I'm probably killing that. But those are 2 games that I got to get back in my PS2 collection. But Rogue Galaxy, found this for like 13 bucks. Was stoked when I saw this. Picked this up at GameStop. Definitely great to find. Okay, and then three more. So then we have Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. So found this at the same GameStop I found that Beautiful Joe. Really cool pickup here because I do have that Metal Gear Solid compilation disc, but just they don't have this game. They don't have this game, nor do they have this one, the Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence. So found both of these at GameStop. Really cool finds. Both, I think one was $9.99, the other was like 15, and I think both of these are like $30 to $35 games. So pretty decent pickups on PlayStation 2. Was glad to have found that. And then last but not least, we got Simpsons Hit and Run. Found a really good copy of this. The manual in this copy was really clean. Found a copy of Simpsons Hit and Run at GameStop. This was one of the last PlayStation 2 pickups I got from GameStop. I remember seeing this game for $9.99, but you know, GameStop has been pricing up all of their games. So this one was, I think, like 32 bucks when I got it from GameStop. Hit and Run Complete, though, was like a $45 to $55 game. So I was not too mad at that. I think this might be a double for me, though. So I probably won't keep this in the collection. I'll probably wind up selling this one, but still very, very cool to find and very cool to see. And that's really the bulk of it. That's all the Gen 6 stuff, you know. One Dreamcast game, a bunch of GameCube stuff that I thought was really good, and just a ton of PlayStation 2 games. I'm sure this is just the beginning. A lot of people have been talking about how GameStop is like really starting to fill out their shelves with retro. I don't know if that's from trade-ins. I don't know if that's from them like you know, just I don't know where the games are coming from. But I do know that moving forward, finding these games are probably not going to be as fun as they were just because of the fact of like GameStop is pricing everything up now. This was fun because a lot of these games, if not all of these games, were underpriced by 15, 20, in some cases 40%. So that kind of made it a little bit more fun. And still just finding some of these titles out in the wild, seeing them on shelves was also fun. But we'll have to see what happens in the future. But that does it for this video. Those were my free GameStop pickups as well as my Gen 6 GameStop pickups. I'm going to save my top GameStop pickups for probably a video that'll come later in the year. I'll show you some of the more expensive and rare pickups that I got from there. But I may do all of my Gen 5 and 4 pickups in another video. So stay tuned and I may be back with that. But that does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector. I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.